Welcome to another video where we inspected top 100 ladder. We are going to look at the Void Rift rankings and specifically that I'm Sorrow because the character is a piercing arrow character and we haven't made a video about that yet, so let's get into that. So the main skill here is piercing arrow. A lot of people love it because it scales with fist damage and it pierces all of the enemies, so you don't need any form of pierce on this build. So the map clearing is quite good and it actually has a really good boss damage, so you don't need to run any boss damage skill. So it's quite cheap, you don't only have to level up one main skill, which is piercing arrow. And this character links it to additional physical damage, find weakness, quick attack, amplify physical projectile damage, armor penetration, and attack damage. Another thing is, piercing arrow can be played quite early on. You can play spread shot first and then switch into piercing arrow once you get it. And you just link it with quick attack and additional fist damage while you have 3 links. And on the 4th link you bring in find weakness, and then you can go all the way through the whole campaign. Once you get a 5th and a 6th link, you will have some support skills already that go with piercing arrow, and then later on you will get amplify damage and armor penetration through synthesis. So quite a cheap build to build. It doesn't need any expensive runes, except maybe this one, but it is quite easy to assemble this build and level with that. Okay, yeah, Shout of Provocation is being used here with improved shout, lingering shout for the movement skill roll with disarm and use count. Illusion X is linked to dampen resource cost here, and area of effect. These 2 skills you don't really need inside the build. This is just for a tiny bit of additional fist damage around your character. Usually people only bring in Illusion X if they link it to some magic find charms here. So I'm not quite sure why this is here without any magic find on it. There's this magic find runes that give you more loot once the X hits the enemy. Okay, other than that, Seal of Critical Chance also linked to dampen resource cost, and Seal of Dodge. So it's a dodge build. If you don't play dodge, you can use Seal of Defense instead. Okay, other than that, versatility with Vital Strike and Enhance Effect, and Time Acceleration, and for some lifesteal here, Siphon Life. So yeah, the defensive cooldown, offensive cooldown. Okay, quite a cheap build to make, no expensive runes, no rare runes. Still hitting top 100 in Void Rifts, that is quite impressive. And it looks like it's a free-to-play character, so I think this is quite achievable, even if you're just starting out the game and want to get into the late game as soon as possible with the least amount of entry requirement. Okay, let's look at this. Lots of fist damage on the bow. And yeah, tier 10 crit, that is mostly important. Balanced Guardian Longbow, so that's a very good crit base here. The basic crit is 12, so it scales very good with tier 10 crit and a lot of attack damage. So optionally there could be even more crit damage on this and speed, but he didn't hit that, and 4 stats is already good on an item. Some tiny little bonus poison damage, doesn't matter too much. Crit damage here, tier 9, that's quite powerful. Attack crit rate, tier 8, so he's mostly playing this item for the double crit and the health on kill and some health. Mostly the double crit here is the important 2 stats, and after that you can try to find any sort of damage and health on kill, mana on kill, these kind of things. Lots of health here, lots of dodge rate, quite powerful. Some hit rating, only 1 resist, that's a little sad. You usually want to have 2 resists on these type of items. Vespa Silence as the shoulders here. And plus 3 attack damage skill rune on the body armor. If you don't have it, you can play the build without that early on, but later on you want to get that. This is gonna be like 10% of all of your damage only on this one single stat here. Lots of health paired with it, only 1 resist again, so the suffixes I would probably spam reroll suffixes on that until I hit at least 2. Vespa's Destruction as the gloves here. Lots of attack speed, so quite powerful. Some damage amp against bleeding enemies, which is Very powerful in this build since most enemies will be bleeding. So yeah, quite a good unique here. Also damage against elites, I like it a lot. Lots of dodge, does everything that the build wants to do. Movement speed here is very low, so try to find something that goes towards 40%. You can also have physical damage on the boots, health, triple resist. So the gear is not very optimized, as you can see. It is quite good. 4 or 5 good stats on an item, that is quite good, but it's not like insanely high gear that's unachievable like many of these top 100 players play. So everything here shouts like not too hard to get going. Okay, crit damage on the neck with tier 10 fist damage, triple resist and health. So this is actually pretty insane, this item here. It's gonna be hard to find something that's better. But even if you have 2 resist, fist damage, health, or fist damage and 3 resist, that's already a very good item, so you don't even need to go for 5 good stats in the beginning there. Lots of health on the belt, mana potion cooldown recovery speed, no resist here either. Attack crit rate on the rings, no attack speed surprisingly. Crit ring with 2 resists, so only 3 good stats. Health is like 3.5 good stats. Hit rate is like 4 good stats, so these count as half a good stat in my opinion. Attack speed, damage, crit, so this is very good. Health, cold, this is so 4.5, 5 good stats on that. I like it. Let's look at the charms here. Attack crit rating. Attack crit rate, movement speed increased at 40 or less HP. The second stat here doesn't matter much. Some tiny attack crit rate, attack crit rate, attack crit rate. So everything attack crit rate. Later on, I assume he wants to get the one with projectile damage going, or with physical damage going, but he didn't collect any of the blessings yet, except this tiny 20% Accubant's blessing for the lightning. So yeah. Later on, you want the physical one or the projectile one in this build. And the defenses here are a little bit lacking. But still, he manages to get top 100 in Void Rift. That's very impressive. Very impressive. Okay, let's look at the Zodiac here. So a little bit int, almost everything in Dex, some strength for the requirements on the skill tree here, I assume. Yeah, for the shout here. Everything else goes with Dex. Ah yeah, and Siphon Life needs int, that's why he's skilling int here a little bit. Okay, let's see the first trade, taking everything. On the second trade, all of the damage applying to the build. On the third, he's scaling into potion effect. And into lots of damage, some mana down there. Interesting, taking the mana over the attack rating. I don't think that's the correct chance. 5% max mana doesn't do much. Fourth here, some attack speed, projectile damage, attack crit rate. Quite nice. So next you would go into this, but we are showing the 3 here at the end. So we will go into the 5th. Okay, the dodge damage combo. On the 6th, oh, 13 skill points. He's taking everything on here for maximum damage. Quite interesting. There's no ammo penetration here, so that's all of the damage there. Is there armor pen here? No, right? No. Oh yeah, here, armor penetration. Okay, makes sense that they put it in the attack tree. On the 7th here, damage against elites, that also applies to bosses. Attack speed and damage, and the crit nodes, quite powerful. On the 8th, everything into two-handed, that applies. I'm surprised he's not taking these two. Probably once he levels up, he will go into these two and into this here. That's what I assume will happen next for the build. Okay, so let's see here. Uplift, quite powerful, attack speed, damage. Strike amplification and overpower, also quite powerful with armor penetration and damage. On the next tier, sharpness, the critical node, and acceleration, of course, probably the best thing on the entire skill tree. With 20% attack speed and movement speed, very powerful. Strike damage amplification again. Amplification is big damage, guys. Don't sleep on that. Some health here. Lots of health here, actually. And 10% strike damage amplification, so lots of health and damage there. And going into Berserker over here. Fist damage amplification. Uncritted. Yeah, okay, this is insane. But you lose some health. Okay. As long as you are fine with sustaining health, this is probably really insane on damage. Good enough for hitting 100, top 100. So yeah, very powerful, potent boss killer here. Okay. Avatar of Boreal. With enhanced damage, so the avatar itself is doing some damage. And Earth Shock, you know, 100%. So this is also, like, the avatar is doing some damage here. And the avatar of Speaker for the armor. Okay, that's actually quite smart to get armor on this. So you at least gain a little bit of armor. For physical damage reduction. Yeah, I understand why you do that. The tooltip DPS is only 350k here. Not insane, but the build is pretty strong, 4k health. It's quite a good boss killer, and since the piercing arrow has a very good map clear, you can also use that for chaos cards pretty well. And yeah, the gear's not perfect yet, but the character and the ranking is quite impressive, so I really like this build. And if you're new to Undecember, I can recommend that. I can actually recommend playing this build. Okay, so yeah, thanks for watching. I will live stream almost every evening when I get the time to do so. I hope you follow, subscribe, whatever it's called, and I'll see you in the next video / live stream. So goodbye.